What's up? How we doing?
We're expecting to hear today from Elon Musk Vivek Ramaswamy with the DOGE conference.
Look, obviously we're gonna, I think, starting to lay out a couple of ideas of where some opportunities are. I know a lot of the members have stuff that they've been tracking for years about ways we could be much more efficient. Control costs where need be, reform or reshape certain departments and agencies.
Does that mean firing hundreds of employees?
No, it's not clear. Right now it's about making sure that the government's doing its job efficiently. And through efficiency, what we know in the private sector is that you find ways to save money, still delivering goods and services to the people that you serve. And our charge is to serve the American people. So the number one thing that matters is an efficient government, not a bloated one. And we all know we have a bloated one.
Elon Musk is talking about he needs people to stop working from home, come into the office. Is that something that you've experienced as well, that you would like to be changed?
100%. Do you know how many federal buildings we have that are just completely empty because nobody comes in on a day-to-day basis? Not to mention what it may do towards the experience that the American taxpayer is seeing when they try to engage our government. If we're going to have all these buildings, people need to come to work. And quite frankly, the way you keep culture in any organization, whether it's private or public, like the federal government is, you got to have people in the office working together side by side to actually have a more effective mission. So yeah, in certain instances, people do need to come back to the office, 100%.
Are you talking to President Trump about these efforts as well?
I talked to the president about a lot of different things. But this one in particular is something I know he fully supports. Obviously, Elon and Vivek are 100% behind it. We'll see where it goes. See you guys.
Chairman Jordan? Green, Miss Green, Miss Green, Miss Green, Miss Green.
We talked about the interest on our debt, and the interest is going to continue to grow. The only thing the American people are going to be paying for is the interest. It's unsustainable, and our country is on a crash course to meet all of our instructions. So,
how about some of the mandatory programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, they eat up so much of government spending. Do they need to be addressed, and does less need to be spent on those programs?
well, the first thing that was talked about was protecting the American people as far as money and definitely their benefits. Nobody wants to hurt Americans in that category. But we have a lot of great ideas that we're discussing with the government
You're waiting for the important people. How's life? Yeah, well, we're still working on
Okay, I'll be over here, boss.
Do it. Do whatever you gotta do.
Mr. Musk, we didn't get anyone in trouble for
Mr. Musk, what is DOGE? What is DOGE?
Mr. Musk, will you answer the question?
That went well.
Can we redo that?
Mike Lee, I went to something else, but
Mike Lee. Oh yeah, yeah, totally true. A little bit after. He's Okay, got it, gotta move. See what the other one is.
How late are you on? There's a 7.0 earthquake in California, so I'm checking with my dad. I deleted it.
When your negatives come up, then you're gonna cry.
You know what? I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you.
Senator, how did the meeting go? Senator?
What Elon and Vivek want to do, but they're not in conversation. That incentive that help bring people back into the office that are web developers.
That's it. Please now. Who would like play music and talk? It's a fun, collaborative they said, we know some of them for years, some of them so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. What we need to do is integrate they said, we know that we want to make changes fast. We have to work that time. So there is this Thank you. You're welcome. Clearly, we know that we want to save health long term. Maybe we look at actually where are we looking at some dollars here. But
So when we're talking about DOGE, it is just really that hot. Yeah, I think people understand that America is always a place where you can show state projects. And we've got the harder building projects, you know, the same kind of highway project. It's not grants for 2 years, it takes 7 years to get done. This is clearly citing and permitting, is clearly the area where the rights and the lefts are being worked. I think right now they understand that they want to start building a well, clearly, it said that you can't paint in poetry and you cover in prose. I, of course, understand why they put a big $2 million number there. I think we're still trying to get our arms around that the window is that there's a 2-year time period of functioning, that fiscal year, but their cost back here is to rebuild cost savings ideas and start building. They've been bringing it up in politics. It has not been a focus of their comments here before.
Was there any sense of what areas you these last
one fun thing about the ideas members of Congress are bringing forward is how very clearly we know we have to do a better job of here in this country. That's come up. Clearly we know we can do a better job of permitting and citing our projects. That's come up. Clearly we know that we've got some areas where government is probably big and some efficiency that makes sense. But the suggestions have been all over the board. I wouldn't say there's been that single common narrative. Yeah, certain people have talked about the need to make sure that we've got a federal workforce so that they can succeed. So we're not necessarily here maybe kind of hand place of your product and your kind of size or set of practices. I think some of these ideas are kind of traditional power. That doesn't mean the idea. I think it's really exciting that couple months to start to figure out what is the art of possible and start to separate it out. What I yeah, there was some of that. I don't think it's my job. Discussion about that.
Sorry to just repeat, but when it comes to mandatory programs, I mean, is that something that lawmakers or seniors that should all of their states look into, or do you have that
certainly there are a lot of people who are saying, $6 or $7 trillion.
Oh, yes.
So shame on them. So we need some creative people.
But does that tie into these discussions about spending cuts? I'm looking, is there a way to reduce spending for these programs?
Yeah, it's an all over. I mean, one thing we know is that in the next 25 years, if we just continue on down federal spending on healthcare, we got every single dollar. It won't be not just for school kids. It won't be limit for bombs, bullets. Only limit for interest payments on money.
I'm gonna see. After Thanksgiving.
Great healthcare.
Yeah, but I was actually nice.
And so we really need to be very innovative and very disruptive ideas about how we should do that. Well, this.
All the managers.
Some of you will know.
Party at the center. Yeah.
Somebody else do this.
I appreciate it. Yes, good seeing you.
And so what is exciting to me is not the guilty line to take this job or this Congress is trying to give it, but there is a real sense of partnership that Congress has got this. And I think those are very forcing to make us do our job. Thanks for to me, I mean, it already exists, right? It's the law of the land. It's based on ways for us to use. Sorry.
Red Cap, Caroline. Caroline.
Congressman Miller? Congressman Miller?
Right now, and I was wondering.
engaged in a marathon brainstorming session where they're really getting down to the nitty-gritty, trying to come up with how that $2 trillion in government spending. But
Check 1, 2.
doing that sounds crazy. So they hold up the victory. So some Republicans argue that lawmakers are not just all talk. No Democrats at this meeting, but Elon Musk was asked by my Fox colleague, Mike Ramaswamy, if he hopes that some Democrats show up in these meetings. He does not get involved. And some Democrats have also chimed in saying they're interested in moderating. I gotta go with that. And Senator Bernie Sanders is
Really? It's on YouTube? That's I rented it. It might be yeah. Nope. Over there. I'm here.
I love your bra. Good excuse.
Let's go find an elevator. Where's the closest? Right over there.
Congressman Nell, will you Congressman Nell,
Can't get them for you guys. Be ready with the mic. No, but he wanted me to get him here. Looks like we're close.
Tightening up again, I think President, sure they are behind the scenes.
Mr. Chairman, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, he's coming out soon.
Expect him to sign. Oh, no, now it's fine. I was referring and then I think like
Can we just ask you about what you heard in there?
Cut regulations, cut spending.
Okay, Social Security due?
No, I didn't touch that.
Go to workers?
Yeah, that was our call. Mr. Chairman, how was the meeting? Mr. Chairman?
different ways of answering things too.
Senator Lee,
What are those kinds of
can you talk to the pool camera?
Talk about energy.
There's like not a vote. There's not a vote.
Chairman Cohen, how was your meeting? Chairman, how was your meeting? Chairman, can you talk to the pool camera? It's right here. We're right here.
Good meeting. Good meeting.
Senator Lovis, can you chat about what you heard there?
And what they're going to do is going to be great. I think it's going to be transformative and hugely helpful to turning our country around.
What are the cuts going to look like?
Are they talking about $2 trillion of cuts, Senator?
Chairman Cole, do you still think $2 trillion of cuts is possible?
Why? Well, what?
Who's here with the gallery?
Yeah. I don't mean to like.
Sir, would you mind going to the full camera right over here? Would you mind, sir? Come and talk to me. Yes. All right, you guys. Here, do you want to come to the time?
You can go right after the camera.
Shut up, I'm right here. Well, now we don't have to.
First of all, it's still going on, and you're exactly right. It's a listening session. Members are being given an opportunity to pitch their ideas. What I take away, and it's still going on right now, is there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse. There's so much inefficiency. Where do we begin?
Yeah, I would just say, speaking to the titans of the private sector. That's fine. A whole bunch of folks. Maybe the private sector, anyone in the government. There's a recognition.
Congressman Good. Congressman Good. How was the meeting? Can you tell us how the meeting went?
Meeting good.
ABC, we're working the pool camera with everybody.
I just want to highlight remarks by Chip Roy in there. Chip Roy made the point that it's the Republicans that are the problem, because the Republicans continue to fund the very government and the very policies and the spending levels that we campaign against. 2/3 of Republicans voted just a few weeks ago to spend $200 billion more in mandatory spending. 2/3 of Republicans will probably vote for a borrowed $115 billion disaster so-called relief program at the end of the year. Republicans have to have the resolve to actually cut spending and to follow the recommendations by DOGE. Thank you, guys.
$2 trillion. Thank you.
Well, the things that can be done, discussion about education. There was a big discussion about redundancy of government workers as they exist in different. This was not
If they actually talk, it's fine if you stick the mic out and have it right in their face. I'm going to be tight. So just stick it out.
Yeah, if he's right there, yeah.
What's that? Oh, yes, you nice thing about that is actually I went this stuff's like going back. Good. There are hey, whoever routed my audio, I have we're here. Let's get some Democrats on board and find out what we can do on a bipartisan basis, right? I want to address our entitlement programs. Let's have a big bipartisan. Everything is on the table, and we're just going to take a much needed look at the efficiency of our government, the programs that exist.
Congressman, how was the meeting in there?
Diane, talk to us a little bit. I got to run to a meeting.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a recurring theme. Elon has said it twice in the last 2 hours that we've been meeting. You know, he keeps saying that we're no longer a democracy, we are a bureaucracy. That is in charge or not accountable directly to the people. That needs to be to Congress. And he says, my job is to let you guys break the money and make a recommendation rather than getting people back to work at their office. We have billions of office space across the nation that's being unused right now. That's probably not the best use of resources.
Congressman, what can you tell us about the meeting again? What did Vivek say? Congressman Lloyd?
To keep everything on the front burner. You guys are really interested in it right now. We want to make sure that, and America is very interested in it as well.
Somewhat ironic is that they're talking about that. Tell the authority they'll get on your side. Stand this to our districts. Go back to Michael Drive Halls and talk about there's a pilot out here.
What do we want?
Congressman Burton. Congressman Burton.
Everyone says they want to cut stuff until it comes out of their pocket.
It's a little rich.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. What I told them is their best is to expose
But Congressman, did you get a sense they have a plan?
that we have power between the houses.
Yes, absolutely. What was the meeting in there, kind of what was the general vibe?
It's a good vibe, but the problem is in that room. I mean, the members have got to have the guts to pull the trigger. You know, when you look up on the board, you have 15 red dots up there and 400 green, and that's the problem. And we've got to get some guts. Yeah, that's been kind of the number that's been floated. Yeah, positive, but you got to get them, have the guts to do it. That's the key.
Tim, let me ask you one question. Did you get a sense that they have a plan to do everything they want?
Yeah, it didn't come over as concrete and be sold overnight.
Ideas
is the capital to be able to go out and figure out where the problem is.
I think what those two do. Let's answer your question here. Everything is being considered, not about just Medicare and Social Security.
And please don't lead with the headline that that's where we're going to make the cuts. We're going to make government more efficient so we can honor the promises of people that are on Social Security, that are people who are on Medicare. If we don't make changes, those programs right now are unsustainable. So we have to make our government more efficient so we can afford the promises that we've already made.
Has to go to the Senate. These types of things. So they're honoring the fact that they want us to work in a bipartisan way to find solutions to a lot of our big challenges.
And it shouldn't be. Waste, fraud, and abuse should be bipartisan. Everybody should join in. I know we're always looking at it if it's only a Republican vote, but we've got to reach out. And I think the three of us, as well as the 63 members that we have in this caucus, literally have to work together across the aisles and let's make government more efficient.
Every idea is vetted, talked about. Thank you, sir. Go to efficiency. Go to, we're going to sell to the American people why we want to change a process, a procedure, what we're talking about. It would be government injustice. It's not going to just cuts or lose people. It's going to make things work better.
Folks, this is the first initial opportunity to jump into conclusions, which I get as part of the we're going to have this is going to be an opportunity for the American people to see what can we do to the efficient way that our government's working.
And we're going to ask their feedback too.
Yeah, and that brings us to announcing this. America, we need you to let us know what you think needs to be made more efficient or cut all together. We've got an email hotline. It's DOGE, D-O-G-E, @mail.house.gov. Hopefully the word will get out. There's already dozens of emails already. And people are take a look at that, and we're going to process those and do everything.
Musk and Ramaswamy where they cuts.
Well, several that we're learning also how serious is that. They heard serious. They heard this.
Today's capital is a failed trip. It's not just about getting down to the
Congressman, can you talk to the full camera, please? Congressman Crane.
They're just quote a native too with zero authority. So I think it's a insight.
I have to go to another. I've got an appointment I got to get to. I think it's a lot of excitement. I think that they have a bold vision. I think that they're going to. I think that hopefully the conference it has the courage to carry out some of these plans. So thank you.
all the lawmakers there. He said the issue is human nature. Everyone seems to be open to cutting spending, rooting out waste, but when it comes down to it, if it's going to be taken off their dinner plate at the end of the day, they're not going to be happy about it.
My name would get up again. Well, I don't know that. Suggestions for areas where they'd like to see cut. We are not outlines for what like this
Vivek said, let the Constitution be our North Star. He said that today. And the Constitution doesn't give the federal government authority to do education. So yeah, let's have that debate. Should it be better to send that money directly to the states and let them do it, and let them run it? We had a hearing yesterday in education. I chair this. We're mediocre right now. The United States has so-so grades as compared to other countries. So there's certainly a better way to do it, and perhaps letting the states do it may be a good place to start.
Just a really great title on this. Be a cross-person issue. Solve a lot of our problems. We have budgetary issues. We have region deficits. We need
Leader Scalise, we come this way.
that's what's going to get us back into the right direction.
And we're dedicated to doing that. And those
What was the temperature going with the meeting and how did it all
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement from our members, just about the idea of making government work more efficiently, rooting out waste in government. Our members have been working on a lot of different ideas for a long time, for many years, identifying, bringing bills to the floor to reduce waste in government, to identify it, to make agencies work more efficiently. Many times those bills go to the Senate and don't even move. So the idea that President Trump has highlighted this, put an actual organization in place and put Elon Musk and Vivek in charge to really focus on bringing all these ideas together, working with Congress, but ultimately making government work better for the taxpayers. That's the ultimate objective. There are a lot of really good ideas being talked about. And so I think these meetings today have been really helpful to start the process. It's great seeing not just members of Congress bring great ideas, but they just started the DOGE caucus in Congress. And there's some Democrats that joined it as well as Republicans, and they've engaged the public to start sending in ideas. And it's amazing, in just a couple of days, they've already started getting a flood of great ideas.
Would you say that your caucus is behind Vivek and Elon Musk on these efforts?
I think, what our caucus is doing, and you're seeing this right now in the meeting, is sharing ideas, exchanging. I mean, again, there's a lot of work that's been going on for years by a lot of members of Congress to identify very specific items of waste. And so rather than reinventing the wheel, we wanted to share those with Vivek and Elon to let them know, here's some things right now as you're going to go start your own process. Put all of these items on the table, and we're talking about items that add up to hundreds of billions of dollars or more. So, there's some big items that we've been talking about, and they're all interested in hearing those ideas, putting them into effect, and then ultimately doing even more.
Will they be coming back up here to talk?
Yeah, we talked about doing this some more, and obviously there's a big interest. There's a big interest amongst members of Congress. Elon and Vivek are very committed to this. President Trump has made it clear that he's going to be following through. Obviously, as the ideas come through the DOGE, they're going to bring those ideas to the president. Some things will be done through executive order. Some things we're going to do legislatively. And obviously, we're going to be having those discussions on a regular basis because some of those will require legislative action. We want to get to work on that and do it as quickly as possible. The things that the president can do through executive action, obviously, those can move even quicker. So I think the taxpayer is going to be the big winner because they're going to see a more efficient government out of this whole process.
Talk about getting rid of waste as any of that personnel based, shrinking the size of the federal workforce.
Yeah, that clearly is going to be a big part. Look, there's been a lot of studies done just in the last year on the percentage of the federal workforce here in D.C. that aren't even showing up for work. And sadly, that number is in the 60, 70 percentile range or higher, where you drive through some of these federal buildings and they're almost completely empty. And they're using the guise of COVID. COVID's been over for years, and all across the country, people have gone back to work. Yet you've got thousands, tens of thousands of federal workers being paid over $100,000 a year each, and they're not showing up for work. And who loses from that are the American people. Look, my office and so many of my colleagues get calls from agencies like Passport Agency. It takes months now to get a passport that used to just take weeks because people aren't showing up to work. You can't process that from your house. You've got people that have been waiting years to get an IRS return. If they're owed money by the IRS, they ought to get that money days away. Technology surely would allow it to happen, yet some of them are waiting years because those employees aren't showing up for work. And look, if you don't want to show up for work, it's a free country. Should you be getting paid $100,000 a year by the taxpayer to not show up for your job? You wouldn't get away with that in the private sector. Why should you get away with that in government? And I think that's about to end when President Trump takes office.
How do you expect to use What about mandatory programs? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, these make up the bulk of government spending. How can you really address the debt and the deficit without touching them?
Well, the good news for you is we talked about those as well. And you think about work requirements in Medicaid, for example, Social Security verification on a lot of these welfare programs where you saw, whether it was COVID, whether it's other programs where you've got people that aren't even citizens of the United States getting tens or hundreds of billions of dollars in benefits. COVID money, they identified over $200 billion in checks that went out to people that don't even live in America because there was no verification. But there are some of those that are in the mandatory spending side, both work requirements and Social Security verification, that just putting those checks in place to make sure that people that deserve to get the benefits are getting them. But if you don't deserve to get the benefits, there's a social safety net there for people who are on hard times, not for people who want to collect 2 and 3 checks, even though they're turning down jobs. So those are the kind of things that we're also going to be looking at. And by the way, that saves really big money.
And what about the fiscal 2025? I mean, we're talking about spending. You guys are working on a spending bill right now. There's been discussion about attaching billions in disaster aid. Is that something that you think that the Republican caucus will be supportive of to attach to the CR?
Well, the president sent his request to Congress just a few days ago. It's over $100 billion. There's some of those items that we all know are very serious. I've been to Asheville, North Carolina myself and seen the damage from Hurricane Helene, so as the speaker. The Appropriations Committee right now is going through what they call a scrub, going through and literally scrubbing line by line all of the items in that request. And I'm sure, and unfortunately in other disaster relief packages, some things end up in those packages that have nothing to do with the disaster relief and they fall out. So we're in that process right now of removing things that don't really directly relate to the disaster. And then finally there will be a package, and how that package gets moved. Is it attached to a CR? We're having those discussions right now too.
Mr. Leader, the DOGE savings, do you expect those to factor into the size of a reconciliation package or a tax bill?
There will be some of the savings that come and are identified through the DOGE that we can put in budget reconciliation. And look, at the end of the day, some can be done through executive order, some can be done through legislation. It's much more powerful to put those changes in law because then it lasts beyond any one presidency. And we saw with some really good reforms that President Trump put in place in his first term, Joe Biden undid those through executive action day one of his term. And so, you want to put as many things into law as possible. And reconciliation is going to be one of those tools. It's going to be the first thing moving in January. And we're already working on that reconciliation package. And the more things that DOGE and other groups from our own committees as well put on the table, we're going to include those in that reconciliation package that fit.
But to be clear, you anticipate being able to use savings from DOGE in some sort of score?
Yeah, some of those items that DOGE comes up with are going to score very big, if they're included in a budget reconciliation package, for example. It's not the only place they will end up. Some will end up in executive orders. But at the end of the day, how best to get them all done, we'll all have those discussions. But I think what's most important for the taxpayers of America is that they're going to see government working better for them. And it's a long time coming. I think it's so refreshing. You hear from people all over the country excited about this idea that we actually are going to make government work more efficiently for the taxpayer of America. It's a new day.
Would you export cuts to Social Security or Medicare, sir?
No, we never propose cuts to Social Security, Medicare. Those programs have some solvency problems that we want to fix. We want to save those programs from bankruptcy.
But mandatory spending?
Oh, there are other items of mandatory spending, like Medicaid work requirements, for example, that would save a lot of money and make those programs work better.
How do you think DOGE can help reel in the administration climate agenda?
All right, guys, thank you.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Last time I laid out,
Actually, all.
And the co-founders of the Department of Government Efficiency have been giving their pitch to Congress on how we plan to slash $2 trillion in federal spending. And that's been met with a lot of optimism and enthusiasm from the House and the Senate Republicans leading that meeting. Elon Musk toting his son around the Capitol on his shoulders passed by our camera without taking any questions. Their initiative includes cutting thousands of regulations, reducing the federal workforce, and eliminating work from home. Last Speaker Mike Johnson helping spearhead those efforts. And on the Senate side, Pete Hegseth is still battling to lead the Pentagon with no signs of backing down. The tougher questions are being asked behind closed doors. Hegseth has been defending on allegations of sexual misconduct, drug behavior, untreated alcohol, and convert. Democratic Senator Rachel Nelson on the Senate reports of financially mismanaged veterans nonprofit. He's asking all financial records and credit card transactions. But his for enrollment and how will those ask for the Senator Scott Republican Senator Johnny nomination remains in purgatory. This is one name that has been put out for lawful Governor Ron DeSantis' potential impeachment. All Texas nominated. All Texas. All Texas nominated. All Texas nominated.
Congressman Norman, can you talk about the meeting for us? What do you think about the meeting in there? What was kind of
Great meeting. A lot of questions, a lot of focus on getting this country on the financial path of solvency. Great dialogue.
what was Vivek and Elon Musk's message to all?
They listened mainly, but basically they said they're going to tackle nothing is sacrosanct. Nothing. They're going to put everything on the table.
What was kind of the mentioning of federal employees and having them come back to work? There's been a lot of talk about that.
The federal buildings that are vacant, putting that back in private hands. Like I say, everything was talked about. Everybody brought different things to the table, making us actually cut. This is where the problem comes. Everybody's pet project they want to keep. This is what my suggestion is going to be. We the people making us cut.
Do you agree with Chip Roy's plan to shame and expose Republicans who don't cut spending?
I agree with Chip's plan to expose the fraud and abuse to the American people. Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Did Musk say he would do that?
I don't remember.
Well, he asked him, and so did Chip Roy ask him. And if the members don't get behind President Trump's agenda, the American people are going to be furious with us. We have a window of opportunity to set things right in this country. And what people are in pain over is inflation, and it's fueled by government spending. And what we want is to hold each other accountable for getting behind President Trump's agenda to, secure the border and to cut spending. We have got to reduce the government.
In agreement with all
It
that.
is not efficient. Yes, we're in agreement. We're going to do it. We're excited.
Cut spending to Medicare, social.
Look, they're going to examine every agency and show it to the American people. Let the American people decide. They're going to put pressure on us.
One thing that's obscene is the pork, but to send the pork to China, to our enemy, is even beyond obscene, according to Elon. I agree with him.
Mr. Speaker,
Very productive meeting. Listen, I'm just saying, this is a very productive meeting with Republicans from the Senate and the House.
Mr. Speaker, can you come here, please?
No, I can't. I'm late for a portrait unveiling. I cannot miss that. But they're finishing up the last few comments. There'll be a lot more that's expressed in the days ahead. I doubt that Elon and Vivek are going to give many comments today because we're in the early process of this. But stay tuned for more to come.
Medicare social security, yes or no?
I do not have a portrait of
Medicare social
How was the meeting in there and your role taking on as a subcommittee?
I thought the meeting went fantastic. It was exactly what we were looking for, a question and answer session with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They were gracious with their time. Many of the members, pretty much almost all of them, lined up at 3 mics and went through the process of expressing their concerns, their frustrations, also talking about bills that they have sponsored and their ideas of how we can truly tackle this massive deficit, cut spending, and lower inflation.
What was the number one concern expressed in there overall?
The biggest concern is our debt. And as a country, it doesn't matter where you fall on the political divide, this debt is going to crush every single one of us. And to quote Elon, he said something extremely important. Every single payment that the federal government pays out, we need to be checking those payments to see if they're legitimate. And that's something that hasn't been done. I don't know if it's ever been done. There's a massive amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that we have to tackle, and I will be doing that with my subcommittee, and I am looking forward to exposing every single unelected bureaucrat, every single agency that is wasting the American people's money, and the big government departments that need to be exposed for how they're not serving the American people.
Was there a call to cut $2 trillion in spending by 2026?
We didn't mention an exact number. All we talked about was cutting spending. Elon and Vivek talked about having a naughty list and a nice list for members of Congress and senators and how we vote and how we're spending the American people's money. I think that would be fantastic. But one thing is for sure, if we can cut spending, we'll be lowering inflation, and that'll be good for everyone.
When do you start work on your subcommittee? When does that kind of start?
Well, as we all know, the next Congress will convene on January 3rd. It'll take a few weeks to do the order of business, setting up committees and subcommittees, and then we'll be getting ready to roll towards the end of January.
Did Musk say that he would expose and shame Republicans for not cutting spending? I know that Chip Roy said that he had proposed that and Musk had agreed with him. Did he agree with him?
Elon said that there will be, he said, a good list and a naughty list. They also have great ideas that they'll be working on with DOGE. Now, this will be separate from Congress. They're talking about communicating with the American people, perhaps maybe even a weekly podcast or a report, so to speak. They want to bring in members of Congress and senators and let the American people hear from them about their ideas and the programs that they're trying to work on, bills they're trying to pass. But the biggest, most important thing that Elon wants to bring forward for the American people is information. His big concern that he talked about today is how many Americans don't even know that we have a deficit or a debt of $36 trillion. And he feels like if we can educate the American people, getting the American people on board, it puts the right pressure where it belongs on the House and the Senate to do this job correctly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's her plane. He's the male. I think so. Yeah. I think so. For just very good.
I talked to Val a little bit. It could be helpful about like agencies. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you have a lot of it, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll send you what I have. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna. Yes. I'm sorry I have to stay here. Yeah.
That should be almost.
And also we get votes right after this, so we like missing it. Yeah. Anyways, I'll send you what I got. Yeah. Have a good one, man.
I would use a different Assad for both sides. He was before the meeting, so. Yeah, probably use that for the sorry, you got me. No, I don't have exactly what it's called. The areas where Musk Vivek Ramaswamy would potentially suggest cuts. Yeah, I would just say the preliminary meeting, you know, and listening session. You bet, Tracy. Oh, wait, Tracy. Am I 5? Oh, we decided. Okay. Definitely not the case.
While we're still hanging out and it's quiet, just a reminder, if you all wouldn't mind taking all of your trash, your belongings with you when you leave, the trash cans here, the bottles, and everything else. Thank you.
Got more of my name tonight. Huh? He doesn't tell me. I know. 62. I think it's 62. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I'm having a nice.
What? Sam, what did he say? He just, yeah. Sam, did he say he was told he couldn't come? Is that what he said? Okay.
What? I definitely am. I'm gonna
This is a one of the newer MacBook Airs, and this is a camera block. Hey, that's impressive. It's still. That's Wait, you got all the real. This is the M3 processor, but the M4 bended. I just heard it kept saying that we didn't have anything, so I didn't look. The M4 processor, I think, is the new latest and greatest. Make your picture better. Yes, absolutely. What were some of the top concerns expressed in there?
I think a lot of it has to do with regulatory reform. A lot of it has to do with going line by line in this in each agency and finding the waste in programs that have not been reauthorized by Congress. We don't even know what they do. A lot of it has to do with money we send overseas to countries that hate us. I think a lot of it has to do with these inhumane, costly animal experiments that are taking place in this country, like hormones, transgender hormones in monkeys, and pumping, cats and dogs, and with all sorts of things to see for what reason we don't know, and it's often very costly and inefficient. Talked about Treasury checks being stolen, the amount of fraud that is taking place all across the country that's costing billions of dollars, and we need to act on that to end it and put in place safeguards. A lot of different things that have come up, and hopefully we'll be successful.
Is there a real push to cut $2 trillion to the federal government by 2026?
Well, we certainly, they mentioned the $2 trillion. I think members of Congress may, they mentioned the $2 trillion. I think that we're going to have to go line by line here and see what truly can be done now. And some of it's going to be, attrition. Some of it will be selling property that it's very expensive to manage, that we don't need. And so there's a lot of different things. It's going to take a lot of work to go through it line by line. We already have a lot of ideas because of the hearings and accountability hearings that have taken place over the years in our committees. Now we have an administration that's willing to work with us on this, but a lot of it also has to do with the ability for these agencies to put in place regulations that are so costly. That needs to end, and that will be a major cost savings there, and repealing some of those regulations that have been burdensome and costly will be one of the areas where we can find some efficiencies.
Is there an agency that comes up more than another in there?
Well, there's a few of them, but not one in particular. I think this is across the board that we have to look at. Okay, I got to run to.
Thank you.
In terms of touching mandatory spending, would that be different about touching Social Security, Medicare, and those concerns? Any raising concerns there about touching those mandatory programs? first year because he interacted with all including Social Security. He also on the books referred to these other things that don't earn considered information. But when it comes to Medicare and Social Security, I think really frankly, okay, thank you, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, you just do that way out. It's not sound. Probably. All right, well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I need to buy Christmas gifts for my family.
Wait, what did he owe you? Oh, you hired you out? How much? 1,200 for 4 hours?
It's 800 for 4 hours.
Okay, nice. Are you guys Yeah, I probably will. That's how I'm waiting. Just to see if there's anything now, but I
Exciting. These are amazing. Very good. Good conversation.
I just didn't see that.
Mr. Donaldson, one more time. Can you come to the pool camera, please?
Efficiency overall in different program areas. Members really brought their ideas to the floor, a lot of back and forth. Generally, all the various parts of the agencies, whether it's buildings, whether it's workforce. This is a very interesting echo. I like this. Brains Act, authorizing the agencies, as opposed to just appropriating to them without actually giving the agencies essentially the marching orders of what they're going to do with the money. We don't do that here in DC. I mean, it's pretty shocking to people when they find that out. And then also how to communicate these ideas on a consistent basis. I think the communication piece will really help the members on Capitol Hill to be able to cast those votes and get it done, because once the voters start hearing consistently about all the areas of inefficiency and of waste, it then makes it much easier for the members to pass those votes. Things we should have been doing for a long time here, rather than Elon Vivek.
Did Elon have anything to say? Did Elon contribute anything to the conversation?
Yeah, some. It was really more just hearing from the members. And members came in with a lot of ideas. So they want to see kind of happen. The question is, does it happen purely out of the executive branch, or are there things that Congress is going to have to weigh in on to try to make permanent? But I mean, look, at the end of the day, in peacetime, we have a $1.8 trillion deficit. That's crazy. And so we are going to have to trim the fat. We're going to have to be far more efficient, because it's not just about America today, but America tomorrow.
Elon Musk said that $2 trillion. He wants to cut $2 trillion. Is that still a number that was discussed in there, or a goal that it is?
Oh, yes.
How do you do that without touching entitlements?
A number of things. First of all, you can definitely get to current waste issues in all of the agencies. That easily will get you to $4 trillion right there. You can deal with buildings that you have using more. Some real super minor workforce issues. You have a lot of people who are going to be retiring soon. We actually restaff those positions. And then you go on and on. There's a bunch of different areas you get. The regulatory burdens alone. And then also can actually decrease regulatory burdens in a smart way. That's right. Then to also actually continue to grow your economy by more every year.
Can you take some questions back here?
No, we didn't get to your marks. This is cool, man. What's up?
Just talk about the meeting for us. Trying to just figure this out to everybody.
Okay. So, I mean, look, what in the meeting specifically is members brought their policy ideas, policy prescriptions, areas that they feel are kind of the low-hanging fruit. Elon and Vivek kind of took that in. There was feedback back and forth. I think a lot of the next big step is, what does implementation look like? Is it going to be by order in the White House, or is it going to be by stuff that Congress has to do? I think you're going to see some of both. But great first step. Glad that some of our colleagues from the Senate were in with us. And so, Senator-elect Moreno was with us. Senator Britt was here for a little while, and she had to leave. But it's going to be a process.
What was most of the back and forth about? We've been told several times that the meeting was almost over, but it seems like it just kept going.
When you have great conversation, it's hard to just end. You want to make sure you get to everybody, and members came in ready to work. And it's an exciting time in Congress. We have a lot more to do, but we're going to get it done.
Are you going to be working with Vivek and the DOGE?
Yeah, we've talked about that, and then for us, it's just finding the ways to move that process along here on Capitol Hill, and to be working seamlessly with them. And some stuff that they might do initially through executive order, we'll probably have to follow up on through
Which agency was the most concerned?
We didn't really talk about specific agencies. It's more about just overall processes within all the various agencies. And then we talked a lot about authorizing agencies, which we do at the Department of Defense, but we don't do for the other agencies. We don't authorize them, but we spend money on them all the time. So if you're going to focus the actual intent of the people's money, then we have to do the job on Capitol Hill of authorizing these agencies.
Did they give a top line number in there?
No, we didn't get it.
They want to cut.
I mean, $2 trillion is consistently talked about.
Yeah.
Depending on the different paths you take, you could actually get to more than that. I mean, we're assuming that we aren't spending enough money. That's crazy. When Barack Obama was president, we spent about $4 trillion. Like, if we did that today, we would have a $500 billion surplus. And nobody was complaining about federal spending when Barack Obama was president. I don't think anybody was saying we weren't spending enough money. So we have to be responsible. We can't just continue to do everything for everyone, because at that rate, we'll be doing nothing for everyone. We will simply run out of money and it will destroy our country. We got a responsibility to fix it. All right, see you guys.
Thank you.